Hello, it's me. I'm going to show you how I make potato soup. Now, I'm not making a huge, gigantic batch here. I've got my kettle right there. But this is something that's easy to double or triple, however you want to do it. But I just want to show you how I do it. Now, what I have in the pan, I've got some chopped up onion and celery. I've got some diced potatoes, and these potatoes are a dice. They're not really huge because I have a thing about gigantic pieces of potato in my soup. I like for them to be bite-sized. And there's another advantage, they cook faster this way. And since I'm just doing potato soup, I want to get it done. It's not going to sit on the stove for hours. And then the next thing I have some water, I have some butter, and I have some canned milk. This is just plain canned milk from Aldi's. I've got some garlic powder, and I have some celery salt. And that is it. And I have some croutons that I've made here in order to put that on my potato soup. Whenever I made potato soup, my late husband insisted on croutons because he said that's how his mom served it. I never ate it that way, but then once I had it that way, it was delicious. So, all right, so let's get going here, and I'm just going to put the potatoes in. Now, I do it a little differently than the way I do a lot of my soups. Usually I saute the vegetables down a little bit in some oil, but I'm not doing that this time. I'm simply going to turn on my burner here to get it going, and I'm going to add the water. Now, I'm just going to add enough water to cover the vegetables. I just want enough to cover them, enough to cook them, okay? So I'm going to do a little bit more there and allow for evaporation. And I'm going to get this boiling. That's what I'm going to do. Once it comes to a boil, I will put in some butter, and I'm probably going to put in about a half a stick of butter. And I like to put my butter in while the vegetables are boiling. It seems to work so much nicer that way, and the vegetables and the potatoes absorb all that buttery goodness. And then it's not just floating on the top. I've seen the old ways of doing it where they floated the butter on the top, and frankly, I don't care for that. So this is my way to do it. And so I'm going to do that when this comes to a boil. Now, I'm going to put a little bit of salt in here, but not a lot because I've got some celery salt that I'm using. So I want to be sure and allow for that. So I'm going to put a little salt in. I'm going to get things cooking and boiling, and then we'll go from there. All right, as you can see, it's boiling very nicely. So I'm going to put about a half a stick of butter in the boiling liquid in the vegetables, and I will show you what to do from there. All right, now I've got a pretty vigorous boil going on there, which that's what I want. I'm going to turn it down just a little bit though, and you can see how the butter has cooked in there. Now, I also added in some parsley. I had dried parsley. If you have fresh, feel free, but I just use the dried. And I put in some garlic powder. And lo and behold, I'm all out of celery salt. So celery salt is not going in there, but I will use a little bit of extra regular salt. And I already have celery in there, so that's okay. We don't have to worry about that, do we? So now I'm just going to cook these until the potatoes are fork tender or knife tender, whichever you prefer. And the liquid is going to cook down, which is what I want. And once that cooks down, and it's not that much in there, then I will put in the canned milk. And you know, the canned milk is pretty concentrated. It's milk that's had most of the water taken out of it. And so I'm going to put that in here. And I might see as I go if I need to put a little bit more butter in there to make it more rich. But that's all right. If I do, I do. Because butter makes things taste good. Okay. All right. We're going to be back. All right. Now, it is really cooking away, isn't it? What I did was I took a fork and just kind of tested a little bit to see if they were done, and they're pretty much there. They will be completely done by the time I simmer my milk in there. So now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to pour in my canned milk, and of course it will cease boiling for a while. Now canned milk is great for this. It's very economical, and you can put pour it right in the water without it diluting the flavors of the soup. Now I'm going to bring this back up again. Doesn't that look good already? And I'm going to bring this back up to a slight boil, turn it down so that I can simmer it. And I'm going to simmer it probably, for, I don't know, maybe 15 minutes on a low simmer, and let all those flavors get incorporated, and I'll taste it for salt. And personally, I will add a little bit of pepper because pepper is good. Okay? All right. So I have my croutons on warm. I've got my soup going here. You can see it's going to come back up to a boil pretty quickly. And then I am going to, I'm just going to back it off just a little bit because you don't want it to scorch. There's enough water in there. It shouldn't scorch unless you have it high. But you just want it to just simmer and cook. And I'm just going to stay with this. Now, I want you to stop and think a minute. This is just a simple, old-fashioned potato soup. This soup is actually similar to what my mom made because it is a milky type broth. But not anything against my mom, but my soup is much better than hers. Because I taught myself, I learned to do it in a way that is much more, well, appetizing. Okay? All right. So I'm cooking it here, and I'm just going to let it simmer on the stove, maybe, I don't know, 15 or 20 minutes. And I'm going to leave the lid off because I want a little bit more of that water to evaporate. Now keep in mind, I'm not making cream of potato soup. I'm not going to break down any of the potatoes. I'm just going to let the natural starches come out. I'm not going to mess with it. I'm just going to leave it like this. I will taste it for salt, add a little pepper, and that is going to be it. It will be served in this nice big happy bowl with some croutons on the top. Now, I want you to know you can do other things with this if you want to. I'm just showing you the least expensive way, and this is also the vegetarian way also. It does have butter in it and it's got milk, but vegetarians eat butter and milk and eggs and things of that type. So I'm simply showing you the least costly way to make potato soup that is extremely good. And you know what? It was 14 degrees here today in eastern Iowa, and I'm telling you, this soup is going to taste delicious. Now then, if you want to kick this up a little bit or make it your own, and you want to add cheese to it, feel free. If you want to add bacon, feel free. But my suggestion is this. If you want to add to it, why not crumble up some bacon and put it on the table as a topping? Or put a bowl of shredded cheese on the table as a topping, along with some croutons. or crusty garlic bread. Or you know what, even cornbread. So just put some things on the table that they can actually put on top of the soup instead of incorporating it in the soup, and they can kind of make it their own. You can make a potato soup bar. How about that? But how about cheese or bacon or chopped green onion, maybe some jalapeno peppers. But I would just recommend that you put it in some bowls on the table and let them load up their own potato soup however they want. Maybe a dollop of sour cream. You know, the sky's the limit on this. You can do it however you want. But I'm just showing you the way that is very, very inexpensive. You can see that it is. It just has potatoes, celery, onion, water, some garlic powder, celery salt, and a can of canned milk. And that's it. Some salt and pepper. And I did put some dry parsley in there. So, you know what? I'm just showing you that. We're going to come back when I'm ready to serve this up, and I'll show you what it looks like and how really, really good it is. All right, the soup is done. I dished some up, and I put some croutons in there. I think I might need a couple more croutons. And I'm going to give this a taste. It really looks good. Got to get some potatoes, some celery, some onion, and I'm off and running. I got to blow it first. You don't mind, do you? Mmm. 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 The croutons are crunchy. Mmm. The potatoes are just right. The celery and the onion is tender. It's got a beautiful buttery goodness. This is wonderful. So don't forget, you can doll this up any way you want because you're in charge, okay? All right. Hey, listen. I love ya. I know that you can do this. I've got faith in you. You know I do. And you know what? I hope you give this a try. Just jump in there and try it. It's pretty inexpensive. Okay. I love ya. And you just remember that little is much when God is in it. I think this bite is for me. Okay. Talk to you later. Bye. Thank you for watching Simple Food, Simple Life. Please like, subscribe, and share.